Hello students, welcome back to my YouTube channel. We are continuing with the chapter number 3 of OCM Business Services Part 2. In the previous video, we have already covered the learning objectives, brief introduction about bank and the functions of bank, that is main functions and subsidiary functions. And in main functions, we have already completed about the two first functions, that is to accept and collect deposit and to lend money through loan, overdraft and cash credit. Now the next function of a banking system is to invest. Now, why do bank invest? So what is the need for bank to invest? This is the question that arises generally in the layman's mind. We are saying at the first one that bank is accepting the deposit, bank is collecting the deposit, and if we are the customer to the bank, we are investing the money. We are investing the money into the bank. We are saving our money by investing. So if we are investing into the bank, why bank is again investing somewhere else? This is the general questions which arise in your layman's language or layman's mind. So here the question of to invest is not to particularly invest in funds only. Here the investment is done for surplus amount of fund. Investment is done for surplus amount of fund. Let us see with an example. The total amount collected by bank is suppose 100 crore rupees. The total amount collected by bank is a 100 crore rupees. Now the one who are in need of money with having a account with the bank are of suppose so 50 crores. So to total lended money. So the fund remaining with the bank is 50 crore. This 50 crore is known as surplus. This 50 crore is known as surplus amount. Now, why it is known as now the problem that remains with the bank is that the amount that is collected 100 crore, they have to pay interest on the 100 crore, so the cost will increase. Now they are getting interest as income on only 50 crore. They are getting only on 50 crore. So for the remaining of the 50 crore, the funds are remaining idle with the bank. Remaining idle with the bank. That means bank is not having any use of this 50 crore rupees at current moment, at current scenario, or at present. So this 50 crore are incurring some amount of cost in the form of interest that is paid to the customers. So to avoid this cost or to match up with this cost, what bank does? Bank invest this amount at any proper or we can say stable or debt funds which do not have any risk factor attached to it or which we have very less risk attached to it. So third step to invest is the investment is done only for the surplus amount of fund. Investment is done only for the surplus amount of fund, not for all or whole fund. Clear? And the last step for this is to do interbanking transaction. Now, what is interbanking transaction? Interbanking transaction is, for an example, we have a in a metro cities like Ahmedabad or Vadodara or Anand, we have a 4 to 5. Let us take an example of Anand. We have 4 to 5 branches of SBI Bank. Okay, each branch of SBI Bank have a different set of accounts individually, have a different set of books individually. So for an example, I am having a deposit of rupees 50 lakhs in a village branch of Anand, or we can say in Karamsad branch of SBI Anand, and I went to the SBI Karamsad to withdraw my 50 lakh of rupees. Now, at that moment, the bank is not having 50 lakh rupees of hard cash in the bank present. So, what they will do, they cannot say no to me because I have deposited the money over there. So, for that, they will ask help from other branches of Anand district for providing the liquidity, for providing the hard cash over there. So, that kind of transactions are known as interbanking transactions. Interbanking transactions are transactions within the banks. Interbanking transactions are transactions within the banks that one bank do with the other branch of same bank, or it can be with the other banks also. So these are the four major functions of a bank that is to accept or collect deposit, to lend money through loan, overdraft and cash credit, and third one is to invest only surplus or idle funds that are with the banks, and last one is to do interbanking transaction, that is to help bank in the case of money crisis or fund crisis. For generally it is for 1 or 2 days, and the method used are can be call money rate or money market rates that we'll study further. So these are the four main functions: accept deposit, lend money, invest, and to do interbanking transaction. Okay. After seeing about the main functions of the bank, let us now move to subsidiary functions of bank. There are eight major types of subsidiary functions of bank. Among them, among them, the first four are: first one is to look after financial transactions, to do transaction associated with foreign exchange, to issue letter of credit, and to issue travelers check. First one is to look after financial transaction. When we talk about financial transaction, generally the bank have two types of customer. One is depositor and another one is borrower. And when we talk about financial transactions, bank does the financial transactions like, if I am account holder of a bank and I have provided a check drawn on another bank by any another customer of another bank, then the bank will perform financial transactions for me, like collecting the money from that bank and depositing it into my bank account. So this is a kind of financial transaction that banks provide me. Another kind, if I have drawn a check on my bank account to someone else, so the bank provides money from my bank account to the person or to the bank of that person's bank account, to the bank or branch of that person's bank account. This is also a kind of financial transaction. So bank provides or bank look after the financial transactions of two types of customer, that is depositor as well as borrower. Another financial transaction that nowadays bank keeps a track and helps us with due to this modern era are payment of electricity bills, payment of D2H bills, means payment of different type of bills. Generally nowadays bank have developed such kind of softwares which give us the reminders even for the EMIs, even for the medical insurance plans, even for the insurance plans, health plans, the investment plans, and as well as for the bills, payment of bills and liabilities. Okay, so this is the such kind of functions, such kind of financial transaction that banks look after for the customers. The second type of subsidiary function is to do transaction associated with foreign exchange. When we talk about foreign exchange, the first thing that comes into our mind is international trade. International trade means import and export. Now, as we all know, in the current day scenario, international trade is mandatory to be done with the help of banks only. Now we cannot do international trade, import or export without taking banks' help. So the first thing that comes into our mind for foreign exchange is import and export. And nowadays it is compulsory, it is mandatory to take help or to associate the foreign import export with the help of bank. So if we are importing some things from any other countries, so we will be needing the funds or the money in the currency of that particular country. For example, if I am importing some things from USA, United States of America, and we need to do payment for that to the exporter of the USA, we will be requiring the funds, we will be requiring the money in USD, that is US dollar. So that exchange of Indian rupees INR into US dollar will be done through a bank in under the subsidiary function of transaction associated with foreign exchange. Same is vice versa. If we are exporting something to USA, we'll be getting the payment in US dollar. If we are exporting something to USA, we will be getting the payment in US dollar. So for that US dollar, we'll give that US dollar to bank, and bank will convert that US dollar into Indian currency, Indian rupees. So this is how the bank performs the transaction associated with foreign exchange. Next is to issue letter of credit. Now this letter of credit is very much important in international trade. How? Because nowadays, when we do international trade, it is not possible that each and every importer and exporter knows the other party or knows or is very well understand very well knowledgeable about the party with whom he or she is doing transaction. For example, I am importing goods from USA. I might not be knowing about the exporter very properly. So what comes here, the trust issues start to arise. That if I am importing the goods, the exporter will be having a doubt in mind that he or she will be getting the payment on time or not. He or she will be getting even the payment or not. What if after paying 50% of advance, I didn't turn up to 50% remaining on delivery? So to arrive out of this kind of confusions, or to evacuate from this type of trust issues, we do have a facility of letter of credit. Now, what is letter of credit? Generally, letter of credit is a type of bank guarantee that a bank of importer provides to the bank of exporter. For example, if I am importing the goods here in India from USA, so my bank will write a letter of guarantee to the exporter's bank in USA, and that is known as letter of credit. The letter of credit is a whole lengthy process that we study in chapter number 10, international trade. But till now, you understand that you take it as a bank guarantee for importer. Now, why do bank guarantee provide guarantee? We pay an amount, we show our credit worthiness, we show our transactions with the bank. If we are not at fault and bank thinks like we are able to pay the amount, then bank guarantee provide us the letter of credit. So if we are not able to pay at the end of the transactions, the bank who have provided the letter of credit will have to pay to the exporter. So nowadays, what bank does? Bank safeguard our money. Bank take the money from us, keep it on hold with them, and then they provide us the letter of credit. As soon as the transaction is done, bank remits or submit that money to the exporters bank. So third is to issue letter of credit, and last one is to issue travelers. Uh, last one for this, fourth one in this is to issue travelers check. Now, what is travelers check? Travelers check is now in the era of plastic cards or credit card, debit card. We do not have that much frequency, that much popularity of travelers check, but still in many countries or many areas, travelers check is prevailing. Now, what is travelers check? Travelers check is a check issued by a bank to a person going outside of a country, or to a person going to a country where to a place where he is not well versed with. So what they do, a bank issue a traveler check for a particular account. The holder of traveler check can go to any bank of the world and provide that check, and that bank will provide the money in the denomination in the country from that bank account. For example, I have deposited 1 lakh rupees in my traveler check account. Traveler check, I will take traveler check with me. I want to go US. I don't want to carry that much cash, so I went over there for 1 month of holiday. I take a traveler's checkbook with me. At that point, I need a 10,000. If I have to submit it over here, 10 or 5,000 US dollar. I over there, I need 1,000 US dollars. So I will write 1,000 US dollar, write the details, sign it, and go to any of the US bank affiliated for traveler's check, and they will provide me 1,000 rupees or 1,000 US dollars, and they will deduct from my account over here in India. So these are the four subsidiary functions to look after financial transaction, to do transaction associated with foreign exchange, to issue letter of credit, and to issue traveler's check. So these were the four parts of four steps of subsidy functions. Remaining four will continue in the next part of this video, that is part three. And after you complete watching this video, you have to answer two questions in the comment section below, so we get to know that you are properly attentive or not. First question is, which kind of funds do bank invest? I will repeat my question. Which kind of funds do bank invest? And second question is, which kind of customer does bank look after the financial transactions? Which kind of customers financial transactions does bank look after? This is all for the part two. Stay home, stay safe, happy learning.